exponentially and be able to grow your business through lightheartedness, humor, and while having tons of fun. Okay, so I want to talk today about comedy and improvisation and using those techniques to expand your business, to take your business to the next level. So if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a founder, if you are a business owner, and you want to take your business to the next level, you've got to be operating in the space of comedy and imagination. So for those of you who don't know who I am and what my story is, I basically studied drama at university. And I remember the first agent who I went to go and see, I took it was one of the biggest agents in South Africa. I took my CV and it had like 2 little lines on the CV. And I was so excited. And I was like, I'm sure I've got this. And I took my CV and put it down in front of the agent. He didn't even look at the CV. He took one look at me and he said, "You're too large to be in the industry." And I remember this completely broke me because I realized in that moment that I had bought into the lie that you needed to look a certain way in order to get into an industry that you loved, or you needed to fit a mold, or I realized that I had bought into the lie that in order to be successful, I couldn't be who I was. I had to try and emulate what everybody else was doing. So how many of you have been in a situation where you have been looked directly in the eye, yet felt completely unseen? Okay, how many of you have been in a situation where you felt like you were completely unworthy, or you put all your worthiness in the judgment of others, what other people think about you? Okay, and this is where I was, and I remember I was completely shattered, and I had a vision board, and on my vision board was Amy Poehler, and Amy Poehler had a line which she had said. So underneath the picture of Amy Poehler, there was a line that said, "Improv comedy is like the military. We leave no man behind." And I remember in that moment, committing to myself, betting in all, going in all on myself, committing to myself that I was going to be so good at this thing that nobody could ignore me. Because just like that line, I had felt completely left behind by an industry that I thought there would be some sort of inclusivity. So I knew what I had to do. And what I had to do was I had to become a master at improv. I had to trailblaze my own path because I wasn't going to fit into the path that was destined for me if I was going to follow what everybody else was saying. So how many of you have ever felt stuck in a situation, in a job, in a career, because people told you that that is the career you need to follow in order to be safe? And I was not going to have that for my life. I'd made the decision in that moment. And I was going to go to the home of improv comedy to go and study improv. And I remember not having enough money. I didn't have enough money. And I took my life savings and I was like, this is not enough. And I remember reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And in Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, he says that his rich dad, his poor dad says, I can't afford this. And his rich dad says, how can I afford that? How can I afford this? And that was a massive shift for me because I remember thinking, how can I afford this? And I applied to every single grant, every single funding outlet in the country, arts funding outlet, and I eventually got the funding to go and study. And I booked myself a ticket to New York, LA, and Chicago. And I spent as much time there as possible learning every single improv comedy, stand-up comedy, clowning, alternative comedy route that I could. And I had a major aha. And my first major aha that I had when I was there was I realized that all my ideas were valid, and that even though maybe not everything that came out of my mouth all the time was funny, that I was intrinsically funny. I found my funny, I found my creative genius, and I promised myself to never put my worth into the hands of anybody else. Okay, so my first big aha was being able to access my creative genius on demand. My second big aha was when I looked around in comedy classes and improv comedy school, I saw that nobody else was there studying improv comedy in order to get good at comedy. There were people in my class who were there to study improv comedy to get good at life. And I was like, wait, this doesn't exist back in Africa. So I made a decision in that moment to bring home and open the first for Africa improv comedy training company. And so Jittery Citizens was born. So I realized that I could use these skills and techniques not only to get good at comedy, but if I truly mastered these skills, I could use these skills to get good at life, and I could teach other people how to do the same, how to live the life of their dreams using comedy. And for the past 14 years, I've been working with entrepreneurs, with founders, with CEOs, with Fortune 500 companies to help them access that zone of genius that allows them to make decisions really quickly, to go all in on those decisions, to act on those decisions, and be able to grow their business to the next level because of it. And this is what I want to talk to you about today. Is often we consider these sorts of skills as soft skills. And I know I've gone into corporate before and they've been like, oh, we don't have budget for improv comedy. And for those of you who don't know what improv comedy is basically our natural ability to come up with magic on demand, to be able to access our creative genius on demand, to be able to trust so wholeheartedly in those ideas that we're able to act on them immediately. Okay? And after working with these corporate clients for the last 14 years and going into these different types of businesses, I've seen that firsthand, and in my own business as well, how applying comedy techniques to the world of business will not only make your business way more fun, way more exciting, give you more purpose, but will be able to take your business to the next level. Because when you have a company of people who are operating in this vibrational space of yes and, anything is possible. Anything is possible. And I've witnessed with my own eyes companies 10x their returns from implementing these principles. I don't know how many of you know Dick Costello. So Dick Costello is the former CEO of Twitter. And Dick Costello says, run your company like an improv company. He was an improviser before he became the CEO of Twitter. And there is a power in being able to run a company, to run your business, to operate your life from the top of your intelligence, to operate your life from the top of your creative genius, to access your zone of genius when you need it, and trust in those ideas. Improv comedy teaches us to go all in, to commit to becoming better, to commit to going to that next level, to commit to upscaling. Okay? And yes, it can feel uncomfortable whenever we're learning a new skill or implementing a new skill. Whenever there is growth, it is going to feel uncomfortable. You know, a lot of people say to me, Claudine, yes, I'm a founder or I'm an entrepreneur, but I can't pitch. I'm terrified to speak in front of people. I'm terrified to share my story. I don't even know what my story is. And I've got to go in there and I've got to help these entrepreneurs, these founders, find their story, access their voice, access their zone of genius, and have confidence in turning whatever their mess is into their message. They need the ability, the skill, the know-how to be able to discuss their business with potential investors. They need to know how to pitch, how to present, how to tell their story in the most effective ways so they can not only transform their businesses, but so they can transform their lives and the lives of their customers and clients. So, for those of you who are wanting to take your business to the next level, but to have loads of fun in the process and learn these techniques that allow you to access your zone of genius on demand, that will give you the conviction you need to decide and act on ideas at lightning speed, I'm holding a masterclass. This is going to be our last masterclass for 2024. I want you guys to sign up in the link below. If you really want to dive deeper, if you really want to get the most out of this masterclass, I need you to sign up for VIP, babe, because we are going to get loads of bonus trainings. You're going to get loads more out of it. If the more interactive, the more in the session you are. So sign up for VIP, Angel Doves, and I can't wait to see you guys there. I'm going to see you tomorrow on our live. Angel Doves, stay hilarious.